What's up, buddy? It's what Jim, and in this live stream, I'm going to be discussing music of the 1990s. Going to be talking about the top 10 albums of this decade, as well as some of my favourite bands and artists from this decade, as well. But more specifically, bands. There's not many. I don't think, to be honest, many solo artists. I'm mentioning here. These are more. These are mainly 90s bands. But I'm looking forward to doing this. I've had this information on my notes written for a while, so I'm glad to be finally doing this. I'm going to do it on my own. So it's been a while since I live stream on my own. I don't mind doing another one on my own. I'm 22 now. Last time I did a live stream on my channel was 21, and now I'm 22. All the twos. So we'll start off with the top 10 albums of the 90s. Then we'll move on to the top 5 songs from my favourite 90s bands, which are Oasis, Radiohead, and Shed 7. And then they're going to be mentioning some other 90s bands as well. And if you've got any questions, any thoughts, you can leave all that in the chat as well. Or in the comment section of this video once the live stream's over. So for albums, that we'll start off with my 10th favourite album of the 1990s. And this is from the year 1997, and it's OK Computer by Radiohead. So I'll basically just go through the tracks that stand out to me the most. So the ones that stand out to me the most are, of course, Paranoid Android, which is one of my favourite songs of this decade. Also, Exit Music for a Film, I think it's a beautiful track. Let Down is one of my favourites on the album. That's another beautiful track. Karma Police, I like that one more than I used to. I think that's one of the better tracks on the album. I love the song No Surprises as well. I love the melody on that one. But the reason why it's not any higher is because I don't think this album's a 9.75, and all the others, in my opinion, are a 9.75. And that's because of the track Fitter Happier. I'm not a fan of that one. I think all the other tracks are fantastic. I'm just not the biggest fan of Fitter Happier. But it does go over the concept of the album, as OK Computer is a concept album, but it's just a computer talking. I just find it a bit of a creepy sort of thing, and I'm just not too crazy on it, which is why I don't think the album's a 9.75. But it's definitely still worth mentioning in my top 10, and it's my favourite Radiohead album. So my number 9 is... So I've got quite a few albums here that you probably never heard of before. And my number 9 is one of those albums. It's by the lead singer Alan Hull, who's the lead singer of Linda's Farm. And it's released in 1996. It's a posthumous album, so it's released after he sadly died. And it's the album Statues and Liberties. And to me, the ones that stand out the most are the title track, Walk a Crooked Mile. I think that one's very catchy and very uplifting. Cardboard Christmas Boxes, I think that's a great Christmas song. Treat Me Kindly, I think it's beautiful. One of the best tracks on the album. 100 Miles to Liverpool. I mean, those 5 tracks in a row are just 10 out of 10 songs. Some of the best songs he ever wrote. They've got This Heart of Mine. I love the whole vibe, the whole atmosphere of that one. Could well be my favourite song on the album. It's either that or Treat Me Kindly. What other ones? Yeah, I love Save Yourself as well. And it's a 9.75. But the reason why it's not any higher in my top 10, it's just a little bit long. It's 12 songs, over 50. It's over 50 minutes long. It's 52 minutes. So I think if it was maybe 2 or 3 tracks shorter, it'd probably be a bit higher in my top 10 albums of the 90s. We've got my dad here. Some of their songs are uplifting, but most of them can be quite sad or quite melancholic. I'll move on to the 8th favourite album of the 1990s, and this is one I recently heard for the first time, and that's Harvest Moon by Neil Young, which was released in 1992. This has got the same problem though as Statues Liberties, and that's the album's quite long. This is only 10 tracks, but it's 51 minutes long. So if it was a couple of tracks shorter, it'd probably be much higher in my top 10. but still, this album's got some of his best songs, in my opinion, with Harvest Moon, the title track, One of These Days, and Such a Woman, which is one of my favourite Neil Young deep cuts, as well as Dreaming Man. I think that's one of his best. But I also love the songs Unknown Legend. That's a great first track on the album. Natural Beauty is an epic, beautiful 10-minute song to conclude the album with. Yeah, I think it's a fantastic Neil Young album. It's my third favourite album of his, behind Harvest, which is the sort of the follow up to. And my favourite Neil Young album is After the Gold Rush. But my seventh favourite album of the 1990s, you can see it behind me, and that's Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette from the year 1995. So it's going to be 30 years old this year. And I'm also doing an album exchange with Jason Your Millennial, and that's the album that he chose. But I've already heard the album twice, but I'm listening to it a third time now in preparation for the album exchange. But yeah, I think it's a fantastic album to be the standout, so you ought to know. Perfect, Hand in My Pocket, You Learn. You Learn is probably my favourite song from the album. Head Over Feet, Ironic, probably the most well-known song on the album. Yeah, I just think it's a brilliant album of the 1990s. It's another longish sort of album, but to me, I don't really feel the length of this one. I feel the length a little bit with the other two albums that I just mentioned, but I don't with the Alanis Morissette one. Yeah, that's an excellent album as well. Nevermind by Nirvana. I'll mention Nirvana in a bit, but unfortunately, Nevermind didn't make my top 10. Didn't make top 10 albums of the 90s. It would probably be my number 11. Yeah. Yeah, my dad always said that she went commercial after this album. Hello, Mike. Hope you're doing well. Got mum in the chat. Google does hours and hours better, obviously. Yeah, they're really great songs of the 90s. I can see why they're up there for you. I remember my mum singing "I Don't Want to Miss a Thing" in karaoke. That was quite fun. But yeah, that's for number 7, Jagged Little Pill. But number 6 is another album that you might not be familiar with, and it's by River City People. It was released in 1991. It's the second album, and their final album, unfortunately. It's the album This Is the World. So I'll get the track list up for that one. So the ones that stand out to me the most are Standing in the Need of Love, Special Way, Move a Mountain, Mile High Cafe, The Sea, High Tide, the title track. Yeah, it's a fantastic album. It's only 11 songs, only 43 minutes. So it's not a very long album in the 90s compared to the other albums I've been talking about. But yeah, I just think it's a brilliant album from start to finish. It's an easy listening sort of album that you can just vibe with. And yeah, I think it's one that a lot of other people should listen to. Yeah, I agree, they are very underrated. Right. So that was my number. Let's see. That was my number 6. Number 5 is going with Robbie Williams, and it's the album Live Through a Lens from 1997. So it's his debut solo album. And you got the songs Lazy Days, one of his more iconic songs. You also get Angels, his most well-known song, and his most well-known song in solo work, I'd say. And it's one of the best songs on the album. Probably is the best song on the album. But I love All Before I Die, Let Me Entertain You's a classic. The title track's excellent. And it's on Spotify. It's 11 songs and 52 minutes. But the last song on the album, about 8 minutes of it, is just it's just complete silence. So I don't include that as part of the album. If I did, it wouldn't be a 975. But I can't include 8 minutes of silence as part of the album. There's also a bonus track at the end of that, like 8 minutes silence. But yeah, I think it's a brilliant album. It was better than I was expecting to be. I knew it was going to be good, but I didn't expect it to be one of my favourite albums of the 90s. At some point, I'd like to review that album on my channel. Right. So number 4, this is going in 1992 now, and it's Automatic for the People by R.E.M., my favourite R.E.M. album. So let's start with the track list. The Sign Winder Sleeps Tonight, I think it's an excellent, very catchy song on the album. Everybody Hurts, one of my favourite songs of the 90s, and definitely my favourite song on this album. It's a beautiful and very melancholic song. New Orleans Instrumental number 1. Didn't need to be an album, but I still think it's pretty great. Instrumental. Man on the Moon, yeah, that's like iconic. It's a fantastic song. Night Swimming, I think should have been a big hit for them. It's a brilliant song. And Find the River, fantastic way to conclude this album. Yeah, I think it's just fantastic. From start to finish, some of the best R.E.M. songs and some of the best lyrics they've got are on the album. So it's one that definitely had to be in the top 10 somewhere. And managed to be in my top 5. So number 3 is from 1997. That's Paul McCartney's Flaming Pie, which I've actually reacted to on my channel before. So to be a standout are songs that we're singing, Some Days, Young Boy, Calico Sky is my favourite song on the album. The title track I think is brilliant. That's probably the song that's grown on me the most. Heaven on a Sunday, Souvenir, Little Willow, Beautiful Night. Yeah, it's got some of Paul's best material in it from this period of his solo work. It's a bit of a long album, but to me the highs are even higher than any of all the other albums I was talking about. There's only really a few tracks that maybe they could have got rid of, but yeah, I think it's one of Paul McCartney's best albums. But number 2, it is going with Tom Petty. It's 1994 album Wildflowers, which is one of my favourite double albums of all time. You've got the title track, beautiful way of starting the album. You don't know how it feels, very bluesy, but very cool song. Time to Move On, very reflective, very melancholic. Love that one. You Wreck Me, fantastic rocker. It's Good to Be King. It's not one of my favourite songs in the album, but it's definitely more worth mentioning. Only Broken Heart's beautiful. To Find a Friend, yeah, that one's excellent. One of my favourites on the album. Same goes to Calling Back to You and Wake Up Time. It was just a beautiful way of concluding this album. I'm fine with that album being quite long. Fairy Pie could have been slightly shorter, but to me, Wildflowers, I'm perfectly fine with it being a double album. Right. Now we on to my favourite album of the 1990s. Going 1991. Got Behind Me, and that's Ringo Starr's Time Takes Time. My favourite Ringo Starr album, and one of my favourite solo Beatles albums. I'll quickly go through every track on this one, but at some point I'd like to review this on my channel. So you've got Weight of the World, brilliant way of starting the album. Don't Know Anything About Love, my favourite song on the album. Yeah, I love the whole vibe and the backing vocals on that one, the lyrics, Ringo's vocals, yeah. Love everything about that one. Don't Go the Road, Don't Go, fantastic rocker. Golden Blunders, a beautiful ballad on the album. All in the Name of Love, yeah, I think that's brilliant. After all these years, yeah. An upbeat sort of sounding song. I Don't Believe You, very catchy. Runaways, which features Harry Nilsson. Not one of my favourites on the album, but Still really like it. In a Heartbeat, yeah, absolutely love and What Goes Around. What a fantastic way to conclude this album. I'm trying to think how many 10 out of 10s are on here. 5, 6. Yeah, it's like eight songs out of 10 that were a 10. So it's nearly a perfect album. In fact, it is a perfect album. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Yeah, why not? Why not give it a 10 out of 10? And it's my 25th favorite album of all time. And actually, it was a 10 anyway. Yeah, it was a 10 anyway. Because with the top 25 albums, I give them all a 10 out of 10. So it was a 10 anyway. But yeah, it's a brilliant album. Definitely recommend it if you love the Beatles and you like their solo material. Right, so that's the albums done. The top 10 90s albums. Just to recap, number 10, OK Computer by Radiohead. Number 9, Statues and Liberties by Alan Hull. Number 8, Harvest Moon by Neil Young. Number 7, Jagged Little Pill, Alanis Morissette. Number 6, This Is the World, River City People. Number 5, Life Through an Ends, Robbie Williams. 4, Automatic for the People, R.E.M. 3, Flaming Pie, Paul McCartney. 2, Wildflowers, Tom Petty. 1, Time Takes Time, Ringo Starr. Honorable mentions, let's throw in Nirvana, Nevermind, and another Tom Petty album. This is with the Heartbreakers, and it's Into the Great Wide Open. Right. And now I'll do a top 5 songs from my favourite 90s bands. And 3 of them are doing this for. That's Oasis, Radiohead, and Shed 7. And I've seen Shed 7 in concert. It was an all-acoustic concert, and it was fantastic. I even got a signed record from them. I didn't meet them, but I got a signed record from them. So for Oasis, number 5, Champagne Supernova, which concludes the What's the Story Morning Glory album. That's another honorable mention, my top 10 90s albums. Thank you to Harry Steve, aka my dad. Number 4, Half the World Away, which every time I hear that song, I just think of the BBC sitcom, The Royal Family, which I'm watching those episodes. I'm watching that series currently at the moment. I think it's a great series, and yeah, I think it's a fantastic song. And number 3 is Cast No Shadow, the most underrated song. To me, it's fantastic. It should be playing the radio. I think it's such a beautiful, it's just a brilliant song. Yeah, I can't get enough of that one. But number 2 is Stop Crying Your Heart Out. I think Liam Gallagher does some of his best vocals here. That chorus is just brilliant. Love the way the verses sort of build up to it. But the number 1's Don't Look Back in Anger. I mean, it's got a few lines that mention the Beatles. So, love the chorus in that one, the guitar playing. And number 1 and number 4 are both got Noel Gallagher as doing the lead vocals, not Liam. As much as I love Liam Gallagher's vocals, I really like Noel Gallagher's vocals as well. But yeah, my favourite Oasis song is Don't Look Back in Anger. That's from What's the Story, Morning Glory. So, now we'll go with Shed 7. And number 5 is On Standby. Number 4 is Going for Gold. Yeah, I think they're both brilliant rock songs. Number 3, Sleep Easy. One of the most underrated songs, the beautiful song. I think it was the B side to Going for Gold. So yeah, a really deep cut. Number 2 is Bully Boy, which is my mum's favourite. It's the first Shed 7 song I knew. And yeah, I still love it. It's very anthemic and very just makes you feel good listening to it. My number 1 is Chasing Rainbows. It's a beautiful, fantastically constructed song. Yeah, I love everything about it. Can't get enough of that one. And Bully Boy, yeah, I think Bully Boy, Going for Gold and On Standby are all from the same album, which is the Maximum High. That's another honorable mention. Yeah, I've got about 4 4 honourable mentions, my top 10 90s albums. But for Radiohead, for number 5 is Stop Whispering. Yeah, love that one. I love the chorus for that one. I love Tom York's vocals on it. Number 4, No Surprises. 3, Let Down. 2, Paranoid Android. And then number 1, it's Fake Plastic Trees from The Bends. That's an honorable mention. The Bends by Radiohead. Yeah, I think fantastic. Fake Plastic Trees. Love the lyrics and meaning behind that song, and the vocals and the whole vibe of it. Yeah, it's a beautiful song, one that I never get tired of. But I'll mention some of the 90s bands before I conclude this. Nirvana. They got some fantastic songs like Smells Like Teen Spirit, Lithium. But my favourite of theirs is Something in the Way. I think that's such a beautiful, haunting song. Love the string arrangement on it as well, which I think was added to it last minute. But it's a very dark song, but just an awesome one, though. I also want to mention the band The House of Love, which are a very underrated 90s band. I'll also shout out the Stone Roses as well. I think they've got a really great debut. But as far as The House of Love are concerned, definitely recommend the song Beatles and the Stones. I think that's such a beautiful song and one of the most underrated songs of this decade, the 1990s. I'll also mention The Verve, mainly with their album Urban Hymns. But I think Richard Ashcroft's got great solo work as well. But to me, that doesn't match the stuff he did with The Verve. They got my favourite song of this decade being The Drugs Don't Work. We've also got Bittersweet Symphony, Lucky Man. Yeah, they got quite a lot of excellent songs. And then when they also mention the White Stripes as well with the album. I think it's the album Elephant, but that wasn't released until the 2000s. But I think their debut was, if I'm not mistaken, in the 90s. I'm just on Spotify confirming that now. Oh, it's 2001. So, yeah, the White Stripes. I mentioned them, but they weren't part of this decade. They were part of the 2000s. But my favourite songs of theirs are, of course, Seven Nation Army, and also In the Cold Cold Night. I love the whole sort of vibe that song gives. Very sort of mystery sort of vibe I get from it. But it sort of reminds me of James Bond or like Sherlock Holmes or something. But I guess I mentioned the Stone Roses instead. And in fact, I'll try and figure out what my favourite song of theirs is. Let's have a look. So, oh, hang on. They were late 80s. The Stone Roses self-titled album. It's late 80s, but they're all part of the 90s as well. But I've not heard the 90s material. Anyway, that's all my notes written up. And then in the next 5 minutes or so, I'll probably go ahead and conclude this live stream. But for the 4 people watching, got any questions, any music-related questions, please feel free to ask them. Because the next few minutes, I'll be concluding this. But I've actually realised that the Stone Roses haven't actually got a very big discography. In fact, they've only got 2 albums. So, at some point, I'll have to listen to their second album called Second Coming. So I've got a list of albums to listen to. Still a lot of albums to get through, but I'm getting there. I've got a lot of albums to get through, though. the next album exchange. Or Jason Your Millennial series. Definitely subscribe to Jason for that fantastic series that I'm doing with Jacob. Scott's going to be joining for a few of the episodes. Scott from Soundlab Studios, that is. And of course, Jacob Martin, Nick from Townsend 505, and Brian from Brian's Music Showcase. Right. So, yeah. I'll conclude in the next few minutes. I'm just going to add that on the list of albums listened to. The Stone Roses one, Second Coming, which was released in 1994. So, I'll add that right there. Second Coming, The Stone Roses. We can't type The Stone Roses. Pretty cool name, The Stone Roses. I like Shed 7, their name. They got it from a shed that was a number 7 shed. Quite funny that. But I think we'll just go to the chat. I think we caught up with everything there. Yeah, I showed that one. Yeah, I'll show you that one as well. And that one. Right. Yeah, I'll conclude the next few minutes. Got a bit of a stuffy nose. Apologize if you hear me making funny noises because I've got a bit of a runny nose. But next live stream we're doing will also be on my own, and that's the top 5 albums and songs of 1970 and 1971. That'll be next Sunday. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, I'll conclude this. I'll conclude in 2 more minutes, and I think I'll go ahead and conclude this. But if you want to let me know in the comment section below your favorite 90s albums, songs, bands, all that good stuff, I really appreciate that. And also appreciate if you give this live stream a like as well. But in 2 more minutes, I'll conclude this. So, trying to think what to say right now, really. I guess I'm going to go with Spotify, tell you what I've been listening to lately. Let's see. Recent, is it? Yeah. So, I've been listening to an artist called Junior Turner. He was actually going to be coming to our house tomorrow, but unfortunately, he had a bit of an accident after one of his gigs. He's got a bit of back pain now, but he's going to be coming to our house, I think next week or the week after, and hopefully he'll be alright very, very soon. And he's from the northeast of England, which is where I live, and he's only got a couple of thousand followers. But I'm hoping at some point to interview him if he's up for that. But I recommend listening to his stuff. He's got some fantastic ballads. Yeah, it's a pretty great variety of songs, and he's even covered "Is This the Way to Amarillo?" But is this the way to Europe to support Newcastle United? I also went to a record store recently. I bought a couple of Robeson albums, just bought a compilation of Chris Rea and a compilation of Procol Harum as well, who sing White Shade of Pale. But one other thing before I conclude this, and that's also listening to an album by Del Shannon called Runaway. Another album I'd like to review on my channel because I gave it a 9.75. But unfortunately, he died 35 years ago yesterday, so I listened to that in honor of him. And also today, the Beatles sang the Ed Sullivan Show back in 64, 61 years ago. Wow. So yeah, I think I'll go ahead and include this here. I appreciate everyone watching. Thanks for the comments, Mike, aka Digizira, My mum, Trudy Carpenter. And my dad, Tune Army Steve. Right, thank you everyone. Till next time, peace out, peace and love, and ciao. Goodbye.